There's no shortage of suggestions for how to save the world. You can find it in bullet points, in political party platforms. You can find it in rallies for how to save America, save our nation, save our way of life. How often they boil down to, we need to be bigger and tougher and stronger than the people we think are our threats. There's no shortage of shallow, tired, cliche, bullet point ways to save the world. And one of the wonderful and strange things we get as the followers of Jesus is the privilege of offering something different. Of not, here's a list of bullet points that if everybody would just take our fantastic advice, you all can save the world. We need to look stronger or tougher, or have more weapons than our enemies, or need to be richer or more powerful. We tell a different story. And it's a story that essentially says God has saved the world in the cross of Jesus. When the church gathers on Good Friday, we have the sheer, outright, upside-down courage to say that death by execution of this homeless itinerant rabbi killed by the empire and the respectable religious people of his day, that this is the moment and the way in which God saves and redeems all of creation, that all of history turns on the cross and resurrection of Jesus, and that in Jesus laying down his life, even at the hands of the empire, even at the hands and with the blessing of the respectable religious people, that moment, that event is how God saves the world. It's totally upside down. Because it doesn't end with, and now you all have to do these 5 things to be tough enough or strong enough or wealthy enough or powerful enough to make the world saved, but that says God has done the saving, has done the rescuing, has broken open the powers of death, of the grave, of sin, of evil, and of every empire ever since. We tell a strange story, we Christians, and that's what you're invited to be a part of this Good Friday. Gather with us this Friday evening at 7 o'clock for worship. Without sermon, without list of suggestions for what you're supposed to do to make the world a better place or for you to be a more successful person, without any bullet points for things we are supposed to do, but instead to say, this is how God saves the world. This is how God embraces all of our rottenness and our blessedness at the same time in the embrace of Jesus. This is how God responds to evil, not by threatening it with more evil, but by responding to it in suffering love. So hear the story with us and notice how over and over and over again, Jesus not only has washed the feet of his betrayer, Judas, knowing what's going to happen in the story we heard on Maundy Thursday, but then Jesus places himself between the danger and his disciples to protect them, offering himself in the garden. And even when his captors are there trying to apprehend him, healing the one who has been injured in the melee, telling his disciples, we are not using violence to solve our problems. We are not going to attack our way out of this. Praying for forgiveness for his killers. Loving all the way to the end. Responding to evil with goodness, responding to hatred with love. This is how God saves the world. We aren't needed to do other things to make the world saved or our country saved or our political party or agenda saved. Our calling is to embody the way of Jesus in the story that's been handed to us and to tell to the rest of the world this foolish sounding news. This is how God saves the world. We don't need to be scolded or preached at to make that happen. Sometimes what we just most deeply need is for the story to just wash over us, to hear it again, and to find ourselves re-storied as we hear it. So come and join us in worship for Good Friday, for this upside-down story of a God who saves not by punching or killing or destroying his enemies, but by dying at their hands for their sake in suffering love. Come and worship the God whose way of saving is to embrace us from a cross and to disarm us along the way. Like the old song goes, this is a story of love to the loveless shown, that they might lovely be. Come be swept up in that song. Come be swept up and re-storied in that narrative. Gather with us on Good Friday for worship of the way God saves the world.